So, this is Sriya from Bookworm Global, and I'm with author Kai Brown. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Kai Brown. I'm a sophomore. I'm 16. I have written two books, part of the Kids Guide series, Kids Guide to Food Allergies and Kids Guide to Helping the Planet.
Mm-hmm. So, it's so nice to finally meet you after receiving your generous donation of 7 boxes of your book, Kids Guide to Helping the Planet. And I have here. So, I have a few questions for you today. So, let's begin. So, first, what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, it was it was a follow-up from my first book, Kids Guide to Food Allergies, and the main point of the books is just education. And I believe I wrote that book around seventh to eighth grade. And at that time, I was starting to hear like all these people saying like, "Oh, climate change isn't real," and I felt like when people normally heard that, they were like enraged and saying like, "No, it is." But at the time, I'm like, "What's climate change?" And so the books were just an opportunity for me to do research and for me to learn knowledge while making it accessible for people my age and younger uh, to learn as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's really important for kids to be educated on important topics like these. So, next, what was the writing process like for you to write this book?
Uh, it was interesting just because it felt like a really long essay. um, and once I started putting my own touch to it, trying to add in jokes, it started becoming a little more fun and something I was looking forward to towards the part of my day when I'd just be focusing on writing. And it was always interesting, and receiving feedback was unique after I was done with each chapter, especially from my parents, because it was just like, oh man, you don't love me anymore. It was just, it was just like, it was a cool learning experience, and I'm excited to write more books.
Hmm. So, who's the target audience for your book?
Uh, my target audience for my books are are just kids in general, people my age and older. I try making it so that anyone can really read it, and that's the feedback I've gotten, that it's consumable for most ages. Of course, if I'm talking about like climate change and the like the ice caps melting to an 8-year-old, then that's not going to be as well received as someone my age or older. And so I try kind of making it somewhat consumable, so they're kind of getting the ideas, at least when they can't understand everything. Uh, and I'm just trying to make it consumable for most ages, and with a focus on kids.
Yeah, even I read a few pages of your book, and I thought it was really interesting. Like, it was even applicable for me too. That was nice. And
Thank
why do
you.
you think it's important for kids to know about the planet?
I think it's important for kids to know about the planet just because they're at the age where they don't always know what they're doing. I think I could even say that for now, for me personally, and just that extra knowledge and just knowing like what you're doing when you're recycling. What's the point of composting? What's the point of not leaving the lights on? All those little choices add up and affect the planet and the world around them. And I think it's very important for people of all ages to know that.
Yeah, I agree. So, where do you get the information and ideas for your books?
Actually, I just ended up looking it up and just cross-referencing it with multiple websites to make sure it was at least uh, somewhat reputable and uh, close to the truth. Mm, and kind of going back to the writing process, it was impressive just like how much knowledge was out there on the internet, and it was just like one search away, and just me being able to compile all that information into a relatively small book was very interesting, and it felt like uh, I'd just be able to use that process and just keep on writing more books and hopefully educate more people.
So, what do you think is different about writing to like an adult versus a kid?
Yeah, when you're writing to an adult, I feel like you expect them to know some stuff. You can throw a few bigger words at them and not go into as much depth explaining everything. And you normally don't have to worry about keeping them super engaged in the topic. But for kids, I was an avid reader when I was younger, so I just like read anything. And but there was even now, not too many people are super excited just to pick up a book, sit down, and like read for like 3+ hours and just knock a book out. And so when I'm writing for kids, I kind of I try throwing in jokes, visual aids, and just keeping them interested so that they can learn in a fun and consumable way.
Hmm. So I also saw about your kids' guide for food allergies. And are you gonna write more books like these in the future?
Yeah, I do plan on writing some more of these books. I think I'm still gonna be implementing personal stories, and it's gonna, I think, I do plan on writing some, and I am gonna actually start kicking one off, starting to write one soon, just because it's spring break and I have time. Uh, and yeah, I'm trying to go for, I think 5 is the goal right now, and if I can 8, but I'm definitely going for at least 5 to just kind of build up the series.
And how long does it take you to write a book if you can do it over spring break?
Last time I think it took me like a year, but that was just because I wasn't, or like 3/4 of a year. That was a matter of focus. As a 7th grader, hopefully it can go a lot faster, and I feel like at this age I can probably focus a little more and uh, get a book out before the end of the summer.
That sounds good. So you said you want to continue this series of kids guides, but do you think that like as you get older, are you going to start transitioning into like a different type of book or different style?
Mm. Yes, I've been thinking about what type of style I'd want to write, so it's a little more applicable for all ages. And for me, I think I'm gonna have the start of the book for whatever topic I'm going to be writing about, start a little simpler and then kind of getting more in depth as it goes on. So once it starts getting a little too difficult for whoever's reading it, if they're a little younger, they just be able to stop at that point and then put the book off for later, for another year, for another time, uh, while it gets more complex as the book goes on. And so that when they're getting the book, it's not like they're hopping from chapter to chapter, being like, "Oh, okay, I can learn this much," and then that way they're not stopping after like the first chapter if they get lost. Um, while it's complex enough and educational for people who are older.
Mhm. So when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
I first became a writer when I wanted to educate people about food allergies. And the part of me when I wanted to help educate others was when I did a little research and I realized how much I didn't know. And that's when I felt like other people needed to know this because uh, the most basic thing, like calling the ambulance first instead of just kind of dealing it with yourself. I didn't know that, and that's like a basic thing, and you need the ambulance there. And so that was a major lesson I wanted to share, and also some personal stories where things got a little hectic. Uh, it just felt like I'd be able to educate some people and in a fun way.
Sounds good. So finally, do you have any big goals or dreams as an author?
As an author, I want to keep on educating people, building up a network so I can reach more people. And I feel like I'm saying educate them a lot, but just reaching out and making sure that people are getting the information they need. Uh, and yeah, hopefully I can just make a strong positive impact as a writer.
Well, that is very exciting, and I'm confident that you will be able to do that.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today and for your donation to Bookworm Global. And I'll be looking forward to seeing more of your books in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.